Good morning to all my friends and family, and welcome to this episode of Jim's 5am Club. It's a little overcast today, but I bet you it's going to clear up and turn into another magnificent Sydney spring morning like it always does. It's Tuesday, second day of the work week, and I wish us all very, very well in our pursuits. And what I'd like to do today is to continue, pip, 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 to continue the tradition of Jim's 5am Club, where we go through and cover a book summary where we can learn 2 or 3 key points, 2 or 3 lessons that can help us in our growth and development. And I was interested to find out a few weeks ago, a week and a half ago actually, at the Tony Robbins UPW session that we had, that of all the books that ever get sold, only a very, very small percentage or actually become bestsellers. The vast majority of all books that are published sell less than 1,000 copies. So all the effort, all the deep thought that goes into writing, editing, publishing, marketing and distributing books is a waste of effort for most people. And for those who want to be a publisher, or want to be a writer, should I say, the chances of writing something that's going to take off and make you money is pretty remote, I guess the point is. So those who want to write, do it for the love of writing, and not to make money and not to make a fortune. The ones who actually make it are the ones who are very, very rare and actually write something that just happens to tickle the fancy and become popular at that point in time. So the book that I'm going to go through today, I don't know how many copies have been sold, how popular it's been, how successful it's been, but from my perspective, I've never read a book where I haven't learned something new. I remember once, and I've said this story again and again, I remember once reading a book, and about halfway through the book I'm saying to myself, what the heck am I doing? I can't understand anything that I'm reading, nothing resonates with me, it's a waste of bloody time. But given that I'm a man of habit, I just kept on persisting, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I took out my highlighter pen and highlighted just one sentence that just stood out, a profound sentence. I don't remember what it was, but I do remember saying to myself and reflecting to myself, saying, it's amazing how this whole book had a huge amount of guff that meant nothing, and then all of a sudden I stumble across one profound sentence which ties together so many threads, links, so many dots, joins so many dots, which proved to me that every book that I come across is a learning experience. And learning is the art of attaching the unknown to the known. The more you know, the more you're capable of knowing, the more you learn, the more you're capable of learning. So once again, a significant breakthrough for me. And since then, back in the days, I remember after going to an Anthony Robbins seminar, I remember pushing myself to read a book a week. And I did that in my early to mid-30s. And that was a great time in my life where I was able to build perspective and build an inventory of wisdom and knowledge. And likewise, since then, I've developed a YouTube channel entitled Jim's 5am Club, where I go through and summarise books and talk about book summaries and overlay it and supplement it and complement the learnings from the book summary with the many learnings that I've been able to accumulate by being able to vlog well over 1,000 book summaries. Today's vlog is number 1573, I think it is. And the book is entitled The Gift of Adversity by an author known as Norman Rosenthal. And the book, an interesting book indeed, comprises 52 chapters. So it's jam-packed full of wonderful examples that one can use. And what I'll do is I'll just go for a walk and talk and see what we can glean from this book. I'm up here on the International Passenger Terminal. There are a few people here taking photos and enjoying this most magnificent view, where the sun will make its way above that ribbon of cloud there and continue to glorify this magical place with those early beautiful golden rays. So the author here in this book includes a quote from an author known as Arthur Golden, where Arthur says that adversity is like a strong wind. It tears away from us all, but the things that cannot be torn. So it tears away from us all but the things that cannot be torn, so that we see ourselves as we really are. I guess the lesson here is once you strip away the things that are not all that important and that not all that necessary, what is left are the things that are most important and what really define us, the things that are known as our character, as our karaktera. But the important lesson, I guess, for all of us is that the one thing for sure and for certain is that we are all going to be tested time and time again throughout our lifetimes. That is guaranteed. And what we need to do, and the call to action from this author, is that we need to welcome, we need to embrace, and we need to surf all the adversity that comes our way, and to find meaning, to find definition, and to use it to the best of our ability to enable us to continue to grow and develop and to feel fulfilled as enough that we can feel in our lives. It's also very valuable to add that the tests that come our way, and God will test us time and time again, as will Satan. The tests can either build us up or tear us down. And at the end of the day, we are the only ones who can decide how we're going to respond to the tests in life. And hopefully we can respond in a loving and productive and empowering way, as opposed to just going with the flow and just reacting animal-like to whatever happens to us. We need to decide how we respond, and hopefully we can decide with God's help and to get a lift up, a step up at each critical point in our lives. Most people can deal with a problem or two, but the one lesson that I have learnt in life is that sometimes what happens is that when you get a few problems stacked upon each other, all of those things, those triggers, that trigger stacking can actually be a little, if not very overwhelming to most people. But we all have to understand that whatever happens for us. That's a lesson that I learned from the recent Anthony Robbins seminar that I attended, that whatever happens for us, and it's up to us to understand and to find the meaning of that struggle so that we can grow, develop and become better versions and use those slithers of reality, those examples, to create patterns and to store those patterns in our mind, in our heart, in our being, because at the end of the day, life is cyclical. There are certain patterns that will just continue to reoccur time and time again over the years, and they are predictable. The outcomes are predictable for those who know the predictability of and the cyclical nature of patterns. The author also asks us a very, very important question. Are we going to be victims of circumstance, or are we going to take charge with God's providence to become architects of our destiny? Are we going to make the decisions, the right decisions, or any decision in fact? It's important to understand that when I was working at IBM many years ago, they said that the enemy of a vibrant and successful organisation is its inability to make decisions. And decisions means basically to focus, to cut away from, and to take a particular path. But by the same token, you can change your decision at any point in time if you're not getting the results that you desire or you expected, so that the organisation that is able to make decisions and change decisions and change its approach is the one that's going to grow the strongest. Just like with us humans, we need to decide and we need to alter and vary our approach wherever possible in order to continue to grow and develop. So the key message from this book is that we basically need to embrace, invite and enjoy in adversity as best we can, knowing that it's going to be part of everybody's life. Everybody is going to get a turn at suffering or not suffering. Everybody's going to get a turn at, I guess, feeling the pain and the discomfort, and the choice is ours whether or not we suffer or whether or not we use it as a learning experience so that we can consider it to be just stepping stones in our development phase of our lives. So make adversity your friend. Don't fight it, but wrestle with it and use its energy so that you can gain and become better. After all, to live an authentic and meaningful life, we need to engage and to celebrate to a certain extent our own failures and defeats, and to realise, this is quite interesting and I like the way the author has said this, that there are 3 flavours of adversity. Now, adversity just doesn't come in one flavour. There are 3 types of adversity that we need to contemplate and understand. There are things that happen to us. You know, they just happen. And life is like that. Now, there are things that you can't control, there are things that you can control. But whatever happens, happens for a reason, as we say, and that reason is to help us, to serve us, as long as we can find how it serves us. So that's the first one. So things just happen sometime, and you just got to roll with the punches, and you just got to find meaning and to use it to grow. Then other things happen because we bring them about ourselves. So we invite certain things to happen in our lives, either by the things that we do or the things that we don't do. So once again, we instigate those things. So we invite or we welcome into our lives adversity by our own actions. And the last one here that the author talks about is sometimes adversity comes in the flavour of the things that we seek out. Sometimes based on the thoughts that we have, the people we hang out with. We are walking along a path that's going to cause adversity for us. As we say, you tell me who your friends are, as the Greeks say, and I'll tell you who you are as a person. And similarly, we can seek out adversity by the decisions we make. It can either be a purposeful seeking out and then coming across adversity, or sometimes we need to push ourselves. Sometimes we need to go through adversity. Sometimes we need to hit rock bottom in order to vigorously bounce off the rock bottom and take control of ourselves, take control of our lives. And then when we look back, sometimes, as Anthony Robbins also has said at his seminar, the worst day of your life ends up becoming the best day of your life, or the worst experience in your life ends up becoming the best experience, because from those experiences you grow. As they say, winners are grinners and losers will think, or what is it? Winners are grinners and thinkers, and losers are contemplators. So the people who lose are the ones who feel the pain, who say to themselves, I'll never ever allow myself to go through this again. And that's a moment of a breakthrough moment that needs to be enjoyed and celebrated. The next point that the author makes here is that it's all about priming and the way we interpret what is happening to us. Our interpretation of what is going on is our slither of reality. At the end of the day, we're all going to experience a different past. We're all going to experience a different present, a different here and now. I am here, you're somewhere else. You're going to be experiencing something completely different to what I am currently experiencing here. This magnificent sunrise, just haloing the Opera House and lighting up the Harbour Bridge. And we're all going to have, without doubt, a different future. Even a couple who live together are going to experience a different present and a different future. And to understand that even twins, Siamese twins, are going to have a different past, present and future. We're all going to have a different life, a completely different life. And depending on how we think, who we hang out with, how we interpret things, and the experiences, the slithers of reality that we experience are all going to shape our worldview. And that worldview will be a compounding of all those experiences, all those choices, all those decisions, all those outcomes that have come into our lives, and how we have interpreted them as to whether or not they're helpful, empowering, disempowering, you name it. Because once again, at the end of the day, things don't define who you are. It's our response which is our defining moment, our definition. And we need to understand that we're all unique, we're all different. We are all going to have different slithers of reality. So my reality is going to be different to yours, and yours is going to be different from your mothers, your fathers, your grandparents, and everybody else who has been in your family. And to know that each person also has a different fate. Just because it didn't work for your parents, your grandparents, your uncles, your aunts, your work peers, doesn't mean it's not going to work for you. And conversely, just because it worked for somebody else doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for you as well. Because we all have our own fate, and God's will determine how that fate is lived out. So, you can try things over and over again. You can alter your approach. You can have goals about doing this, that, and the other. But God will only allow you to experience those things if it is indeed good for your soul and good for your salvation. You can fight it. You can do things which are not going to be within God's will, or things that God won't will for you, or things that are not God-pleasing. But at the end of the day, you're going to be disappointed, you're going to be empty, you're going to be unfulfilled, you're not going to be living and following and expressing your calling or callings. So we need to be mindful that we need to be doing the things that are going to help us express who we are, and to know at the end of the day what God has made in us is unbreakable, and not to subscribe to a victim mentality. It's either are you a victim or are you a victor? It all depends on how you see yourself. It all depends on how you interpret the things that go on in your life. The author here also encourages us to stand up to the bullies in one's life, and to understand that we are surrounded by some people, not many people, not all people, but some people who don't want to resolve issues, but for some reason or other, you don't know what's happened in their life, you don't know what season, what chapter, what phase they are in their life, but instead of looking for resolution, they just want to pick fights with people for whatever reason. The author touches on an author named Viktor Frankl, and I've read his book many years ago when I was in my 30s. I remember hearing Anthony Robbins talking about Viktor Frankl at the UPW that I did back in the mid-90s, at either his second or his third. I went to both of those. But he talked about Viktor Frankl, where he was a Holocaust survivor. And Viktor Frankl wrote his book, Man's Search for Meaning, where he reminded us that there is good and evil in every group of people. We also, in ourselves, express moments of good and evil. I remember Anthony Robbins saying that people communicate for one of two reasons, either as an act of love or a cry for help. You don't know what is going on in people's lives. You don't know what has gone on in their past. You don't know the pain and suffering, the unresolved pain and suffering that they're experiencing. But to understand that there is good and evil in each group, in each person, in each society, in each generation. But in life, regardless of if you come across good or evil, it's up to us to find meaning, and it's up to us as individuals to source strength. And the author then talks about the fact that we are all fighting ghosts in our lives, and those ghosts are irrational fears that we have either created ourselves through our own rationalizing or interpretation, or ghosts that have been inherited by us over the years from our culture, from our religions, from our family, our grandparents, our parents, our friends, our work peers, our schools, our education, the media. There are tremendous numbers of sources that we have in our lives that can influence how we see things and what we fear, what we're uncertain about, and what we doubt. But to realise that the vast majority of these irrational fears are just that. They're just figments of our imagination, and they are not real. We're able to take them on, we're able to call them out, we're able to step up and to take bold action, because the greatest contender to fear is the person who takes bold action. Fear just loves the procrastinator. They just feed on indecision. They just feed on doubt, fear, and uncertainty. But you can create your own certainty by being bold and taking action and thinking the thoughts that are going to source strength and create strength in you. And to understand that these ghosts can either come from your past, can either be created in your present, or you can draw them back from your future. So just understand that these ghosts are operating. They're not real. These fears, these uncertainties, all of these things are just a figment of our imagination, and in the majority of cases they will not materialize. We've just created them in our own headspace, and we need to understand that when you take action, you will find a way. You may not know exactly where you're going and how you're going to get there, but once the propeller starts on that ferry boat there, the captain knows that he can go straight and he can turn and he can adjust his direction and he can zigzag and go around things that are in their way and get to their final destination. Because as you move, then you can see clearer where you're going. So once the ferry boat here gets round the Opera House, then you can see all the way up the harbour, and then just determine what's the most effective and efficient way of getting to where they want to get to. The author reminds us that our choices shape our lives, and our lives are a sum product of the choices and decisions that we have made, and most importantly, all the things that we have settled for. And knowing that we need to keep on growing and developing, because life, for sure and for certain, will continue to change, will continue to morph itself. And today's 8s are going to be tomorrow's 6s. So we need to keep on going. We need to keep on pushing ourselves. We need to keep on learning, because that's where fulfillment is. And most importantly, we are different from each other. But the reason why God made us different from each other is so that we can be different for each other. We all have different strengths. We all have different capabilities. We are all at different stages of our growth path, of our development phase. But we can draw from examples of others who have been there. We can have a coach, we can have a peer group, people who are going to push us, people who are going to cajole us, people who are going to invite us to participate and live at a higher standard people who have done what we are trying to do, people who have achieved the things that we desire to achieve. So we need to draw examples from those around us, and we can also draw examples from our own lives, because everybody throughout their lives have made lots and lots of decisions, and the vast majority of those decisions have been successful. The mere fact that you're not in jail, the mere fact that you're not dead, means that the majority of the decisions that you make are good decisions, are productive decisions. We can make better decisions by modelling our decisions on the good decisions that others have made around us. So we need in our lives people who live their lives at a higher standard, is one of the key messages here, and to not be a victim. Don't play the blame game, as we mentioned before, and just deal with whatever comes our way. Embrace problems, be a problem solver, be solutions focused, take responsibility, and run with the ball. Just like in rugby league or in any sport, when you have the ball, then you have to decide what you're going to do with it. The best thing to do is to run with it, and then to either kick it, pass it, or do something with it, so that you can make progress. And when we talk about progress, we also remind ourselves that progress is more important than perfection. Perfection is a fantasy, because the world that we live in is changing, and it's changing faster and faster as the years go on, because we are in a digital economy where we've got social media, we've got instant communications, and we have technologies that will leverage and facilitate change, even if that change is not real. There is so many marketing pushes, so much marketing spin that is created in the world that we have at the moment, and we are bombarded by lots and lots of marketing messages and marketing spin. You can get confused and think that things are different to what they really are, because it is it is a mirage. Our life is full of those social media mirages where things appear a lot bigger, better, exciting than what they are. So we need to be careful. We need to take guard to our minds. Otherwise, if we're not closed in our mindset, or deliberate, should I say, in our mindset, what will happen is our mind will become the rubbish tip for everybody else's garbage. So stand guard at your mind, stand guard at your relationships, at the doorway of your relationships. And as we said, by all means, have a peer group of people who are like-minded, who are going to help you grow, develop, and create opportunity. Because friends and family are great, but you don't want people who are too supportive. You don't want people who are too comforting in your life, because we all need to live just outside our comfort zone, because it's only by living outside your comfort zone that you're actually growing and developing, and it's outside your comfort zone is where the wow is happening. So once again, it's important to push yourself to grow, because by growing and developing, we're actually maintaining status quo. So because of the change that's happening in the world, knowing that today's 8 is tomorrow's 6. So once again, we need to take responsibility and to understand there's a compounding effect of not taking action and deciding, and that life at the end of the day is a rite of passage, and not to waste our unique gift and our unique life, and to try wherever we can to release the tide in us, and to understand that bad things happen to good people, but we will get through it. We will find a way. Human beings, with God's help, are resourceful, and through positive support of ourselves, with the love of ourselves, and with the help of those good people around us, we will get through those challenging moments in our life, and we'll be bigger, better and stronger, as long as that's the way we interpret it and that's the way we shape it in our minds and in our hearts. So thank you very much for joining me once again on this episode of Jim's 5am Club. It's a peaceful, beautiful Tuesday morning, and I wish you all a very, very productive day. If you want, watch the video or have a look at my YouTube channel. I've got thousands of minutes, I've got thousands of episodes that I've put together over the past 3 years, ever since we had COVID. And my objective, my mission, is to try and be the most prolific vlogger of personal development material in the world. As I say, at the moment, my channel is jam-packed, chock-a-block, full of wonderful content that I've been able to source and to complement and supplement with my own experiences, and from the lessons, the knowledge and the wisdom that I've been able to take from other people's works, so that we can get a holistic approach and a balanced approach to our own personal development. Wishing you all the best. Take care, and bye for now. Let's live, learn and pass it on. Keep on growing, keep on developing, and keep on serving God with all our heart, mind and soul, and loving one another as we love ourselves. Yasas, and bye for now.